Does your child struggle with being bossy with their friends or siblings? Hi everyone, I'm BJ Muir from JesusHelpMeParent.com, and I help you become the parent your kids need so they can grow into all that Jesus has for them. When I work with families, I show them how to use a heart-based approach to parenting so they can see change that truly lasts in their kids and family life. Lots of children struggle with bossiness, and a lot of us parents find ourselves telling our kids, hey, stop being so bossy, over and over and over again. Bossiness is potential leadership that's immature, and rather than being stifled, we need to disciple that immaturity and that leadership in the right direction. But to do so, we need to know what we're aiming at. In this video, I'll show you exactly what you're aiming at, what's missing, and 5 different strategies you can use with your kid to help move them forward in this area. And make sure to watch through to the end. I've got a bonus parenting tip just for you. A lot of times when we're working with our kids and we see this bossy behavior, we'll simply tell a child, hey, stop being bossy. But that doesn't really help a kid too much because that doesn't tell them what they should be doing instead. All we're doing is labeling what they're doing right now as bossy, but we're not showing them the right way to do things. Let me show you what I mean right here in this graphic. Whenever we're looking to bring transformation to our child's heart, we want to develop a map mentality. Picture yourself starting out on a journey inside your child's heart. You start out at point A. Point A in this case is bossiness. If we keep saying stop being bossy, and being firm about that, that keeps us stuck here at point A. We don't know where to go. We need a point B. Point B is assertiveness. And we need to help our children understand you want to be assertive instead of bossy overall. But we can't just tell a kid, okay, start learning to be assertive. Start learning to be assertive. Start learning to be assertive. That's still not going to help get them there. You see, there's another component to a map mentality, and that's the journey. We need to plot a course of how do you stop being bossy and start being assertive in the right way. That's exactly what this video is going to show you how to do. You see, we need to first define what assertiveness is so that we can understand what our target is, where our end of our journey should be. So assertiveness is keeping relationships and people a priority while confidently expressing feelings, sharing opinions, or saying no without feeling guilty. Bossiness really is immature assertiveness. It's forgetting the priority that Jesus wants us to place on people and relationships. And it's often overusing or misusing assertiveness in a way that negates the person. That's why I say we want to teach assertiveness, because built into assertiveness is this sense of balance, is this sense of knowing when to be assertive, when to be flexible. So we're not going to teach our kids to be overly assertive. Assertiveness has that balance component built into it. So by now you're probably getting the idea, okay, I need to help my child move from bossiness over to assertiveness. Some of you might be a little afraid to do that because you're afraid your kid's going to be over assertive. You're probably wondering, how do I get there? What's the route that I help my children travel on? Well, there tends to be 5 components missing that separate bossiness from assertiveness. And children might be missing 1, 2, or all 5 of these components. Take a look at this list and see which ones identify with your child. The first component that's often missing is balancing the use of assertiveness. Children who struggle with bossiness tend to overuse it, and they have it in every situation, whether it's necessary or not. They have an opinion, a plan, an idea, a strategy, whatever it is, and they want to move forward with it. And they tend to overuse assertiveness. What's happening? They're forgetting the relationships and the people. And in doing so, they become bossy. That then tends to spill over into our second missing component, which is listening to others. Oftentimes, people in their circle, whether it's their peers or their siblings, are telling them they have different ideas, they have different plans, they want to do something different than them, and your child isn't listening to their friends. They're not picking up on those signals, and they're continuing to move forward with their idea. That then leads to the third missing component, which is cooperation. Children who struggle with bossiness aren't usually cooperating with others, and because of that, it tends to cause some more conflicts. Now, you might even notice your kid isn't really cooperating with you at times. Does your kid always follow through on what they're told to do instantly, completely, and cheerfully? If not, you want to grab a free parenting resource I linked in the description down below called 5 Simple Steps to Get Your Kid to Follow Instructions. You work on that area of the heart, getting your kid to cooperate and follow your instructions, you'll find the bossiness starts to go down as well, because you're developing the same heart in your child that's looking to cooperate with others. A fourth component that's often missing is being able to resolve conflicts peacefully. As we move forward with bossiness, there's a chance another child, whether it's a sibling or a peer, also has a deeply held opinion or belief or plan or an agenda, and they want to assert that as well, and that then causes a conflict. Your child in return may just bail out on the situation and move on. I'm not going to play this game. I'm going to go do my own thing. Or they might throw a temper tantrum, get very upset and emotional. Whatever it is, they tend not to have the coping strategies and the conflict resolution strategies that are necessary to resolve a conflict when it happens. Finally, the fifth component that tends to be missing in children who struggle with bossiness is expressing empathy. They don't have the ability developed strongly enough to look at the world from someone else's shoes, to take a different perspective and ask themselves, gee, how would it make that kid feel if they always had to do it my way? And so when struggling with that, it then becomes difficult for them to express empathy as well. Now that we have an idea of what's missing, we have to start asking ourselves, okay, how do we fill in those components and develop those aspects of my child's heart? There are lots of great ways to do this. This video, I'm going to identify 5 simple strategies that you can do. But if you think of other ones, I'd love to hear about them in the comments down below. Now, the first simple strategy you can use is to teach your child to offer opinions as ideas instead. Our kids who are struggling with bossiness are often really good at saying, okay, let's go do this, or let's go do that. And they have ideas, they have plans, they have agendas for how the world should run and how playtime should go and what should happen in the structure of a day, and they're off to the races. Instead of saying, hey, here's what we should do, we want to teach our kids some simple phrases that turn our opinions into just ideas. Saying something like, I have an idea, why don't we try this? Now changes my opinion into an idea, which is up for more debate amongst my peers or my siblings. Or something as simply saying, you know, we could fill in the blank. What do you think? That's another simple sentence you can teach your child to say when they have an opinion on what we should do right now. Well, we could. What do you think? And let the others in the group start contributing as well. The second simple strategy to teach your kids is how to listen to others' ideas first. In some situations, you might have a child who has some relationships with some peers where anytime a kid suggests an idea, everybody goes with it because the roles have been established and your kid's the boss and everybody just listens. So if your kid tries that strategy I just talked about earlier where they suggest something, you might find that their peers are just falling in line because that's the way it's always been. Your child might need to hold back their ideas and instead just simply ask, what's your idea of what we should do today? What do you want to do? Ask just open-ended and don't offer an opinion or an idea or a suggestion because we need to reset the relationships here. And the only way to do that is to reset the way we interact completely. So teaching your kid to just ask the question, what do you want to do? Or what's your idea? And then to sit back and listen is an important strategy for resetting those relationships. It'll teach your kid how to listen to others first. Now, the third simple strategy you can use is to model assertiveness by asserting your opinion about how good this video is by hitting that like button. All right, that's not really going to help your kid, but it will help this video out. So go ahead and do that if you've been enjoying this video and have found it helpful. In the meantime, here's the real third way to help your kid, and that is to teach your kid flexibility and perspective taking. Now, you can do this at all kinds of different times. This could happen before you know a play date or something's going to be happening, an event of some kind, so you can kind of prepare for the moment. Okay, let's talk about different ways that we could play that game or different ways that we could have the camp out or whatever it might be. This could happen afterwards if something's not gone the way you wanted it to go, to say, okay, I saw how that went. Let's talk about it. What are some other ways that that could have gone better? That's another way to help kids with flexibility and perspective taken. It can also happen in the middle of an event. You can kind of call your kid over to the sideline for just a minute, not to discipline, but to really coach your kid and say, okay, I see you in there. I notice you really want to do it this way. How do you think your friends are feeling though right now? Take a look at their body language. What are you noticing? I'm noticing this. What is that telling you about them? Help your child start seeing others around them so they can start understanding, oh, here's how I'm coming off. Here's how this situation's developing. I need to consider people and relationships first. The fourth simple strategy is teaching your kid how to use simple conflict resolution skills. A lot of times conflict starts to arise, or your kid just walks away from a situation or a game because they don't want to play it that way, they don't want to do it that way, and they haven't learned how to really resolve a conflict. They haven't learned how to let it go without bitterness. They haven't learned how to confront without anger. They haven't learned how to compromise without giving in. Those are important skills for your kids to learn, and they're going to need some language that you teach them for how to talk to a friend when they want to change what they're doing. They're going to need to know, how do you negotiate and compromise, and how do you come up with a win-win situation when two friends or two siblings want to do something differently. Teach your kid those conflict resolution strategies, an important part of the learning process, because it'll teach them how to truly care about the relationship first. The final simple strategy is to practice honor with your kids. Honor is a biblical concept that you're going to want to practice with your children whether they struggle with bossiness or not. Honor really is teaching your kid to live like Jesus lived. It's treating others as special. It's doing more than what's expected, and it's having a good attitude. We have some other videos right here on this channel all about honor, but you want to make sure that you're providing your child chances to honor others, because it places them in a position of service. And when you're in a position of service, you need to think about others. You need to perspective take in those moments so you know how you can be a blessing to others and draw them closer to Jesus as well. You want to practice honor with all your children and with yourselves as well as parents, because it'll transform family life so it's more like how Jesus wants you to experience it. Practicing honor is a powerful solution and strategy for helping children who struggle with bossiness. Now for that bonus parenting tip. I want you to make sure that you are labeling behaviors and not labeling kids. When we talk about bossy kids, we're really labeling a child and giving them an identity that we don't want them to have. We want them to find their identity in Christ Jesus. So we want to label a behavior, not a kid. We can say to a child, hey, you know, when you tell your friends what you're going to play, and when they give you a new idea and you don't even listen to them, that's showing bossiness. Notice how I explained the behavior I was seeing and said that was showing bossiness. Label the behavior, not the child. Remember to grab your free copy of that parenting resource, 5 Simple Steps to Get Your Kids to Follow Instructions. You won't believe how much it will transform family life for you. Now, if you want to work on honor with your kids and see that bring transformation of family life, you want to check out the video that's appearing on the top of the screen right now. And if you'd like to have a biblical way of resolving conflicts in your family, check out the video that's appearing on the bottom of the screen right now. And until next time, I'll see you soon. Thanks, everyone.